You know, they always say the best way at facing your worst fear is exposure therapy, and as a Golden State Warriors fan, as the only Golden State Warriors fan on this Box and One panel, it's time for me to admit it's over. It is over. We're not going to see this again. Now, I'm not just saying that to be overly pessimistic because I just watched Julius Randle completely lobotomize Draymond Green, but I'm saying that because in watching this game, I realized something about this Golden State Warriors system that even with a healthy Jimmy Butler and Stephen Curry, they would not have gotten. They could have possibly won the NBA Finals this year because it is wide open. Boston is down 3-2 to the Knicks with Jason Tatum having a horrible Achilles tear. Prayers out to him. Pacers are in the Eastern Conference Finals. OKC and Denver have both looked suspect. But let's revisit 2015. Klay and Steph. Two-man threat. This is before Steph Curry really became the guy that every defense knew to double. Steph and Klay, 2016, they lose the finals, 3-1 lead blown. They get Kevin Durant. What did Steph and KD have? You had a guy where Steph was going to get doubled, and then KD, on top of being a scorer who was wide open, he could get his own shot. Kevin Durant, in my opinion, probably is one of the best, if not the best isolation scorer we have ever seen outside of Kyrie Irving and James Harden. He's up there in that conversation. But you had Steph and KD for 3 years. You'll see what I'm saying in a little bit. 2020, 2021, we don't got to talk about that. 2022, something changed, though. Yes, the Warriors recrafted and retooled their lineup. They got Bielitsa, they got Otto Porter Jr., but I want to focus on Jordan Poole. Jordan Poole was essentially the future of the Golden State Warriors. And Jordan Poole, even though, yes, he was going against Uber drivers in those playoffs to get him that $130 million contract, we have to remember that Jordan Poole is a guy that had off-ball movements similar to Steph, and he was a guy that could shoot the lights out just like Steph. The defense goes to Steph. Jordan can then get his own shot, or Jordan can attract two defenders, and then Steph gets wide open looks as well. You got to pick your poison. Going back to 2015 with Steph and Klay, same exact thing. Pick your poison. KD and Steph, pick your poison again. Going back to 2022, Steph and Poole, pick your poison. Steph and Jimmy Butler is yet the latest iteration to this Golden State duo being enough to get a championship. First of all, a duo is no longer enough to win in this NBA. You need a complete conglomerate team. And also, your third guy being Draymond Green on offense. We got to be realistic about that. Steph and Jimmy Butler score in two completely different ways. If Jimmy Butler is not hot, the defense is not going to double him. He's not going to be a threat. Klay Thompson, even when he's not hot, is a sharpshooter. Defense is always going to be there. Same thing with Jordan Poole. Same thing with KD. So Steph is going to be open because half the time they're going to double one of those three guys. Jimmy Butler is an isolation scorer. If Jimmy's not hot, the defense is going to keep their man on him, and they're still going to send doubles or triples to Steph. That's why a majority of great Jimmy games on this Warriors team was putbacks. It was when the defense was on Steph, on Buddy, on the shooters, and it was getting to the free throw line. We got to be honest. It's not like Jimmy Butler's a bad pickup for the Golden State Warriors. He's a great pickup for the Golden State Warriors, but the problem is his play style does not give Steph the liberty and the freedom to get everything he needs. Look at that Houston Rockets series. It took Buddy Hield, a player that has off-ball location like Steph, to fully take advantage of the gravity Steph and Curry provides. Jimmy Butler, because of his playstyle, could not take advantage of that, and that's completely fine. But if you were to get KD back on this Warriors team, that would have been insane. KD didn't want to get traded midseason. I completely understand that, but it would have been a completely different story when now you have probably still the best two-man game in the NBA on the Golden State Warriors team. Now let's talk about the future of the Warriors. I don't know, man. I don't know where you go from here. I'm seeing Kuminga sign and trade getting Cam Johnson. I'm seeing getting Steven Adams with the MLE. I'm seeing getting DeAnthony Melton back, maybe getting Andrew Wiggins back. Cool, that's great. It's not enough to win a championship. It's not enough to win a championship. Steven Adams is not a championship level big. That's not a diss to him, but you need at least a Miles Turner. You need somebody with a little more offensive game and athleticism than Steven Adams, who can actually stretch out the floor to get a championship in today's NBA when everybody's 5 out. Cam Johnson would be an amazing pickup. DeAnthony Melton would also be an amazing pickup. We were doing great with him when he was in our starting lineup, but I don't know. I don't know what's next. I don't know what's next, and it's really sad because this is a Warriors team that with Steph looked great, and I think was going to run through the Minnesota Timberwolves had Steph not gone down. But again, 7 games, hard physical series against the Houston Rockets. You got to deal with Amen Thompson, Dylan Brooks. Stuff like this happens. And again, the video coming out tomorrow on the channel as well in terms of the death of one-way players. When you have guys like Gary Payton II who can't do anything outside of shoot wide open looks that Stephen Curry provides on offense, he's a non-factor. You're going against Anthony Edwards. He's a non-factor on defense. He's a non-factor on offense. It's just a hard watch. Speaking of hard watches, though, we have Draymond Green. After game 3 or 4, I don't really care which game it was. It could have been game 2. I don't care which game it was. They paint me as an angry black man, and I'm sick of it. Well, Draymond Green, every Golden State Warriors fan knows that you have done a lot of things that have warranted that reaction. You kick men in the balls. You choke men out. You slap them in the face. This has nothing to do with you being black. You're a black man in a black man's league. This has nothing to do with that. This has nothing to do with society painting you as a stereotype. This has nothing to do with the systematic oppression of black men in our country. You're acting like you're one of the Central Park 5, Draymond. No, you are a belligerent defender. You're a great defender. You're one of the greatest, if not the greatest all time, but you are a locker room cancer at times. You are a team cancer at times. I saw Steph Curry cry in tears when you got ejected in the first minute of an Orlando Magic regular season game, and Stephen Curry broke down into tears. This was right after you went to therapy, Draymond. This has nothing to do with you being a black man. This has nothing to do with your ethnic background. This has everything to do with you time and time again saying you're going to be better, and then you're not. You're like the abusive boyfriend. No, I promise, I've changed. I'll never hit you again. And then you do the same thing. You do the same thing again and again and again and again and again and again. And it's like, bro, you're 30. He's 36. How are you rich? And you're robbing people. I'm tired. You'll have a lock-in game where you stop Sengun, and then guess what? Houston tied at 3-3 because you disappeared, buddy. Then you'll have a game like game 1 against Minnesota where it's like, oh my gosh, 4 threes, Magnet Ball, we're back. And then you'll talk about Rudy Gobert and disappear for the rest of the series. I could go on and on about this. The only reason I'm not going to go on and on about this is because I'm going to do another video on Draymond probably tomorrow. And I want to get this out as soon as possible just so I can get it over with. But yeah, we're probably never going to see this again. Salute to 10 years of Golden State Warriors for changing the game. Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, to Draymond Green especially. Draymond is still one of the all-time greats, but he is equally as controversial as he is great. That is going to do it for me today, though. Again, as always, if you enjoyed the content, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. We will see you all in the next one. New episode probably out Saturday night or Sunday morning, whichever works. I have nothing positive to say. Thank you for everything, Jimmy. I know your butt was broken. Thank you for Jemsky for not going out sad. Golden State Warriors. Been a great 10 years as a fan. Even as a hater, you gotta admit Olympic Steph was cool. But yeah, we'll see you all in the next one. Take care, guys. I said the video was over, but just a really quick note. Jonathan Kuminga, we're just gonna have to trade you. You don't fit with the team. You're not a bad player. You just don't fit with the team. Anyways, if you enjoyed the content, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. We will see you all in the next one.